We're still in South Nigeria, 4 minutes before 3 p.m. Tolulope Ogunjobi is standing by live in Calabar. Tolu, what's the situation report where you are?
Well, thank you so much, Nifemi. Well, we started the day around 8 a.m. and I can tell you that voting started across Cross River State at about 8:39. Aside from maybe the riverine areas and those far distant areas from the Calabar Central Metropolis. That's talking about 5 hours from town. But I can report to you that it's been peaceful around Cross River South in most of the localities visited. But there are pockets of violence and issues in some areas, particularly the north area of Calabar, where some of the strong politicians are, and of course all of their supporters. So we've heard of issues of even of a gunshot, and somebody is at the hospital now. An INEC official that was shot somewhere in Bakassi is at the hospital now, and also another attack somewhere around Obudu area, around that area too. There was also an attack there. So all following this election for today. But aside that, one thing that is very, very pronounced here in Calabar is the turnout. The turnout is not as much as what we had on the 25th. If you recall, the figures from INEC that we got after the presidential election in Cross River State showed that we had about 444,000 voters who participated in the 25th, that's on the presidential election. And I can tell you that 1.6 million, more than 1.6 million, a little above 1.6 million, picked their permanent voter cards. That means that the turnout was really not commendable. Now, if you look at what has happened today, it shows that that figure might be lower. So what really is responsible for this? We thought to ask, and we got mixed reactions. While some were satisfied with the process of the 25th, some had their shortcomings, some had reservations, saying that they want INEC to do better and that they will believe more in the process. But aside that, I must tell you that people are interested in the process. It was seamless. The use of the beavers across the places I visited was quite seamless. I spoke to the former governor of the state, Donald Duke, and he also talked about the process, and he was convinced with what he saw, saying that if that is replicated across the 18 local governments and the 3,281 wards in Cross River State, it means that it will be a good day for whoever wins, and they would all take the results because they believe the process is credible. So that's around like a summary of what has happened. For the House of Assembly seats, we have 25 here in Cross River State, and we have 187 persons contesting for 25 seats. So you see, that's highly competitive. So it's interesting down here. Not much of violence around the south and the central area, just a little around the northern area where we have a little bit of challenge and reports, pockets of violence around that area, Nifemi.
Tolu, so it's just a minute before 3 p.m. Voting should have ended by 2:30. What's happening behind you? Can you confirm if that is voting or collation? Exactly where you are, Tolu.
Exactly. You are correct. Yes, this is a White House bus stop in Calabar Municipal, and I can tell you that sorting is already going on. You can see here all of the both the electorates and even the politicians, party agents are all here looking at their sorting, and the counting will start very shortly. At the same place where I have, there are like two other polling units around the same point where I stand, and the other place the same is happening there, sorting and counting. I can also tell you authoritatively, driving down here, some of the polling units we visited had already finished all the exercise at about 12 noon. It was that early because the turnout was poor. We are looking at what the total figures will be when INEC comes up with it, but with what we've seen today, it clearly looks that it could be, most likely, be lower than what we even had at the presidential election, which wasn't even very, very commendable compared to the number or the number of those that picked up their voter cards, like I highlighted to you earlier. So sorting is on, counting is about to start. In some places, same is also happening, and I must tell you, it's been peaceful around those locations I told you, aside from the north and maybe some areas around Bakassi that I reported earlier. Nifemi.
Example of vote and stay back to count your vote where you are, Tolu. It looks like you're enjoying yourself. We'll be back with you for more live in Kaduna. So you hear a